Perfect. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining. I'm Lauren, and we are going to make a very silly and spooky sign. We're going to do acrylic basics, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We're making this. And let's get started. So thanks for being here. It's Monday night. You did it. You made it. Let's learn something new. As I go through, I may answer your questions. But if there's something that comes to mind, you can put it in the chat. And then the good thing about being live in this class is that I can answer your questions live. So at the end of class, I'll go through and Carrie will help me read any questions you have. If anything comes to mind, just throw it in there and it may get answered, but it may not. So absolutely use that feature. And then, yes, as Carrie said, it goes to YouTube tomorrow. So if you need to step away, do whatever, come back and then you can scrub to that tomorrow and be like, what did you say? So that is a lovely benefit. All right, let's go through the materials to make this together. La, 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 finished product. Okay, so these are fun little individual signs. We're going to adhere them together after they're painted. So we'll need these. And to do that, maybe we just need a little glue, hot glue, and felt. So we just need, a basic glue gun. And then I just took scraps of felt, right? I just grabbed a white piece, but I think I listed black in the online, whatever you have, right? We just want something to cover up that glue and protect your wall. So a little 2-for-1 action. We need tracing paper and a pencil to transmit my type from your printout. So this should come online. It came with a PDF of the type, so you can just transfer this. We'll go through how to do that. But we need one of my favorite tools, tracing paper. Something to cover your surface with, because acrylic, it's the nature of painting. It will get somewhere it's not supposed to. So this is reusing parchment paper I did another project with. Newspaper, go in your scrap recycle bin, just get something to cover your surface. And then you will not have to scrub paint off your countertops. Been there. Palette. This is just melamine plastic, easy cleanup. Speaking of cleanup, you will need a sink and running water, but since I will be teaching this live, this is a cup of water with natural dish soap in it, and then a little paper towel. It's always just good to have a few sheets of paper towel next to you when you're painting in case of a spill, oops, good to have it. We need a pencil, and then we need a couple brushes. We're using a 1-inch brush for our big backgrounds, and then a couple of little rounds and an angle. These are all like 0s and 1s. They're quite small. And then our paint. So we're using gesso for our white, and gesso is a great thing. It's actually a primer. So it's a lot more opaque than maybe our budget craft white is, and it's a lot more versatile to have. So we're using white for this just to teach, that gesso is a thing and that it's quite fancy. Fancy. We're using just simple matte acrylic paint, inexpensive. We've got black, orange, and then neon orange, the neon pink and bright pink, and neon green. And yes, as everything is listed online, so you should be able to go on to the class list and click whenever you do make this yourself, so you can know exactly what to buy online or in store. Okay, I think we've walked through everything. Let's start painting. So I'm gonna put this aside, and we're gonna get our tiny signs. I think these were just so much fun. So I peeled the stickers off of them, and I'm just going to kind of arrange them and decide. I don't want the little jagged edges to be the same, right? Because we can see that's actually just all the same cut. So I just flipped them so they're alternating now. So our edges are alternating just for a little, it looks more organic that way. Okay. So we're going to get our gesso and our palette. We're going to take one of our signs. I'll take the one that's in the middle, whatever you decide you want to use in the middle. And we're going to gesso this background real quick. I'm going to shake up. Get this out of here because inevitably it will get paint on it. Put a little on my palette. Acrylic dries really quickly, so always put less on your palette, and you can always put more out. But it's such a shame to have paint dried that you don't use that's wasted. So I'm just taking my brush and quickly just, you can see how opaque this is, right? One coat and we're covering our surface. I'm just going with the wood grain. Get a little more. We'll get our edges. When you inevitably get acrylic on you, soap and water. I like to use just a natural dish soap. We'll get it off. Now I'm just getting the edges. This is going to be that middle one that had that black wash on it. I'm not being too precious, but I do want to get white on the edges too. So we're priming our surface so our black shows up really true and opaque. Not being precious about it, but we're covering those edges. Perfect. All right, we're gonna let that dry. And because I don't want to waste paint, we're gonna put just a little more here, just to get this stuff it off. Okay. So what you would do is go take this brush to the sink and rinse it, have the bristles facing down with the water, and then take your dish soap and just rub it gently, but you are live with me, so we're not going to the sink. So I'm just gonna mix this in the soapy water and try and get that paint off because we don't want to ruin this brush by having our paint dry. That would be sad. That would be a sad thing. Okay, so do not do what I'm doing. Go to your sink, wash your brushes, respect your tools, but we're just gonna do this little quick save over here. Okay. We're gonna grab our other two boards. This is why we keep paper towel because I got my little surface wet here. And we're gonna do orange. So we're having orange underneath our neon, just so it's more opaque so you can really see it show up. The paints are a little on the more translucent side. So we have a really bold sign. We're gonna have a orange layer underneath it. Okay, so I've dried off my brush pretty good. And we're gonna get that orange. A little shaky, shaky. Move my palette over here. And this is just the matte orange from Craftsmart. And with these, I actually did the edges black. I thought the contrast was really fun. So I'm not even gonna worry about getting the edges, and we're not gonna worry about if I do get a little orange on the edges because that black will cover it up. So not being precious, just getting a nice coat. All right, looking spooky. Number 2. Nope, that's neon. orange. Great success. Okay, I'm gonna dunk this brush and then I'm gonna pull up while our paint dries here on the background. Acrylic dries quickly, but not lightning fast. So we're gonna talk through some acrylic basics quickly. Try not to do irreparable damage to this brush. I'm using a clear cup, but never, this is just a cup I just reuse. Don't use food, cooking, anything you use to drink out of for your art stuff, just keep it separate, just to make sure you don't get paint in your system. We're not looking to do that. Okay, let's put this aside and pull up the PDF. Okay, so Carrie, let me know if you can't see it, but we should see a little PDF here for our acrylic paint. So we always cover our surfaces before we paint just to save us time, right? You know, we prep a little bit before to save us time after, hopefully, and then get you some paint and clothes. Just, you know, there's a pair of jeans I have ruined for when I'm making a project, shirts that you don't care about. Acrylic is a huge pain to come off. So just be mindful when you're working with it. You know, you don't want it to wear anything you wouldn't be upset having paint on. And then do not commit art crimes. I was walking the dog and stumbled upon this, but it's something that's can easily happen. Acrylic does dry fast, so we always wash our brushes in a timely manner so they don't dry and then become ruined, right? That's so sad. That brush didn't do anything wrong. It was just trying to do its job. So we always make sure we properly wash our brushes and then just let them air dry. And then we don't have any crimes against the art world because we don't want to do that. Okay, stop sharing. And we can see that this is getting closer to drying. It's no longer, there's just a little bit of shine. And since this is matte paint, it will not have that shine when it's properly dry. But this gesso is quite nearly dry. You can see that it doesn't really have that sheen anymore. You can always just tap it. We're good. That paint was already there. Let's put these over here and get back. We're going to do a dry brush to make this background for the middle sign, the little sign. So I'm going to make sure my brush is properly dry since we just half washed it. Dry it off. I'm just dabbing with paper towel since we don't have time to air dry. Get some black. Shaky. Careful when you open these, they like to splatter sometimes, so it's a good habit to open them away from you. Or again, just, you know, we're wearing clothes ideally that we're okay if we get a little paint splatter on. And we're just going to take just a little bit of this black, and we're just going to really gently make our marks. So I didn't want too much black in the middle. So I came from the edges and then pulled in. See that brush stroke? Looking spooky already. Just flip it over. Do the same thing over here. Goodbye. just take the edges. Just spread it a little bit as well. Dab in here. Not being precious, just giving it, you know, some weathered here. Looking at it, maybe I want to put a little more. Okay, and again, we've got a dirty brush, so we'll dip it in the water, but y'all will go wash this in the sink. Doesn't take long, just a little soapy water. Oh. Making sure this brush is really clean because we're going to go now put neon orange on our other two signs. So we do not want to have black in that neon. Give it a rinse. Okay. Go give it a rinse. Swap this out. Grab our orange ones. These are looking nice and dry. You can see they're not shiny anymore. And if I tapped, I wouldn't get any paint. Lovely. Now we're gonna neonify these. We're gonna grab our neon orange and go on top. And I am shaking this off camera. I'm just gonna move my palette. Get some neon down. We're gonna test, right? So I didn't get a chance to like properly wash this, so I'm gonna dab over here and test on my palette, make sure we don't have black coming into this. Looks pretty good to me. So, okay, we lose it. All right, let's grab some neon. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna flood this whole background. And this is your craft. So if you don't love the neon, you want to keep it orange, do that. Love that for you. This is all just a fun jumping off point. This is in line with Michael's Sparktober. So today's prompt is bat. And I had already made a bat pinata in September. If you haven't seen that class, that was fun. I recommend it. It's on the YouTubes now. And I thought, okay, well, I've already done something that actually had a bat. So I decided to go with typography. And then we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. I'm just quickly just throwing some neon on here. Oh, wait, my edges are black for this on the bottoms. Let's see, what did we do? Okay, I did neon edges and then black sides. I like that, we'll do that. And I forgot to put orange on the edges here. So you can see how less vibrant it is, right? If we didn't have that underneath the orange, it just doesn't look as okay. So we layer color to get the effect we want, right? Color here. And this neon orange does need 2 coats. As we can see, it's kind of translucent, and to really get that bold, fun color, we'll need to, need more paint out. over here, dry, for everybody. You don't normally need to shake all acrylic paints, but this stuff is a little more, it's less viscous than like a heavier body, more expensive paint. And so I do just like to shake it. Awesome. So for the sake of time, we're going to skip the second coats of neon orange so we can keep partying. But it still will, this one still turn quite neon. But for yours, definitely go for that second coat. It looks super fun at night too. It doesn't glow, but it definitely reflects light in a really fun way. Last class I was asked about a glow in the dark paint. Definitely they're fun, but if you choose to use it, you're gonna have to do like 2 or 3 coats. It really just takes a couple layers to show up, and it will show brush strokes a lot of the time depending on the brand. So just be mindful of that. So if you're just going crisscross, if you don't want that to show, then be mindful of your brush strokes if you use that. For this, I just went for the fun neon look. Okay. Washy the brush as close as we can right now. Okay. So while these neons dry, get this palette out of the way. And we're going to get this. This is dry. Okay. We're going to do our type. So coming with this class, I made a PDF of my type so you can print out everything. And all I did was take my printout and a pencil, and I just traced it. So I traced on top of my printout. My printout is MIA. And all I did was trace it. So now we have pencil lead on this side. And this is one of my favorite tricks. We're going to take it with you a little. And now that we know this is dry, we're going to guesstimate the medium here. And I'm going to put pencil lead on the other side. I think for this class, I reversed it, but for myself, I drew it the correct version. So I'm putting pencil lead. I'm tracing my letters here on the back. It's pretty quick. I'm going to say, yeah, this looks good. It's pretty light behind here, so my neon paint doesn't have to do a lot of work, so it can be legible still. That looks pretty good to me. Okay, great. So now I'm just going to hold it down, and then I'm going to trace on top. I'm going to redraw these letters. So now I'm pressing down and putting that ink, that pencil lead down onto my surface. I'm pressing pretty hard here. When you do yours, you really don't have to because we're using a light color underneath it. So just enough for you to be able to see the tracings. And I'll hold this up in a second. This is one of my favorite tricks. This is fabulous. We are short on time, so we are going to, and that is not centered, but that's okay. I get going fast. Okay, so you can see now it transferred. That's crazy. Okay. So we do the same thing with the bat, right? The bat, you don't have to worry about which way is which because this bat is symmetrical. So I will now just place my bat and say, this looks fun. Where I put it on the other one, trace it. Let's check it before I lift it, see if my lead is filling up. All right, looks like a bat to me. Trace this more so you can see it. So for yours, keep your tracings light, but I just want to make sure you can see what I'm going to be painting in here. I'm going to go over it again. Okay, so now we have the bat transferred. Great success. And that's what we're going to do for the other two as well. So the Word Just and the Batty, same technique, but we're going to let these neons dry. They are still tiny. Okay, let's get this out of here. Grab our palette, and we're going to take that gesso. And we know that gesso is pretty opaque, which is great because we're putting white on top of a little bit of black. I'm gonna shake it and put a little bit back on my palette. I'll put it in the same place I had before. Just a dot. I'm going to take my 0. I just have a round 0 here. Brush. Grab some paint, and we're just going to fill in a little. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to actually do the A. These are little, so you have to get close. I recommend having very good lighting. So just gessoed that, and we're going to do that. We're just going to fill in the white, all our letters. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to do the A. Fantastic. Since I already have a wet paintbrush, you know what, we're not dry enough to do that. If your neons are dry, you could start doing the stars, but they aren't. So we will wait. Let's dip this brush in water and paint some bats. So we have a bat here. In the original one, I just put them kind of flanking a little, super cute. If I say so myself. But y'all know how to duplicate it. Everybody's smart. Okay, so we're gonna have bright pink, and that's gonna be our base, just like we did with the neon sign. We're having a color similar to it to be our background to layer to get that strong neon effect. I just dunked my brush, but I'm going to grab another round and have a backup here, so I don't have to worry about having a color cross-contaminate. And I'm just going to fill in the bat we traced. First with this bright pink. And so since I heavily trace that pencil so everyone can see, I now am making sure I cover up my pencil lines though, because it's that shiny lead and that's just not the effect I'm going for. And if you're nervous to paint directly on the wood, anything, or transfer anything, I love to use the back. So you can see I tested for next week's classes this sign trick or treat sign we're gonna make, but I did a lot of testing because it's the same type of wood. So I love, you know, using the back or using scrap before committing. And that's always, as you know, these colors, this metallics, they were different, they were new to me, and these pens were new to me. So I was like, okay, let's see how they work before I commit. So that's always an option, you know, scrap, the back. Don't let the fear stop you from putting paint down. Just try. It's all supposed to be fun. Okay, we have one layer of that. We're gonna let this dry quickly and do another coat. You can see, you can still see some black through this. I'm gonna do a no-no and leave my wet brush here because we're gonna grab our neon green and cover this A. So this would be the a little, we would just gesso the whole thing. But again, we're on a time crunch together. So you'll get the idea. Putting a little bit of neon green out, dabbing it with my round, and I'm just gonna go on top of it. Simple. With that neon goodness. Okay, fun. You can see for both of these, we're gonna want 2 coats. So we'll let that dry. Our bat's still wet, right? We can see that it's shiny, but I'm actually just gonna go ahead and throw a second coat on. Normally it's great to let it dry because if you do this, you can pull up your first coat, but it's almost dry. We're doing such a small space. Go ahead and keep layering our color here. Again, this craft is just a jumping off point for you. So if you don't love pink, don't use it. Purple bats would be cool, gray, orange bats because you already bought orange, whatever you like. You know, they're just accents, so we don't have to worry about them being super visible. Okay, so that's 2 coats of that. I'm gonna wash this in my little snake holding pen here. I'm gonna grab my neon green and just put a second coat on this type. Very neon-y, and I'm actually being quite liberal with the paint here. I've got a thick coat because I really want this to show. Okay. Neon accomplished. And when you make this, you'll fill out your whole letters. Washing the brushes. Move this and grab. Go back to our oranges, which are still just a little wet. Let's see about this one. Okay, that one's wet too, but we're gonna keep going forward. The same thing applies to both. So actually, let's do that together. So we're gonna trace it, right? You're gonna take your tracing paper, trace the printout. You've got your ink. And so now I'm going to, you can see the first time I did this, I had a little wet paint still, right? So you can see my neon. Put some pencil lead on this so we can adhere it. Excuse me. Apply it. So all the type in this craft is a sans serif, and that's a type of font. It's a font family, or yeah, type of font where it looks, when we say something, if people say, oh, I want a font that looks clean, they're probably talking about a sans serif, because sans means without, and a serif is like a little tail. So when we think of New York Times, Time New Roman, those are serif fonts. They have those little quickly draw this. How this W has nothing on it. A W like that would have a little wing. That makes it look what people may call a little more formal, a little more old school. These are sans serif, and this is a serif. So everything in this, even though we have varied type, like the word just is on a slant, a little is regular, and then batty, I played with the letters and moved them around. It still looks cohesive because we're using the same font. So it's just, there are tools we have. And when we're talking about signage and legibility, generally we want people to read our signs. So since this is small, I chose a sans serif font so it's legible. That's just a little kiss of typography. And that's also why colors were chosen, right? So word just is black, right on a neon orange, very high contrast. And a little, I chose to be a little more obscure, right? If you are far away from your sign and you can just see we're just batty, that still makes sense. And a little is supposed to be just kind of silly, a whisper. So I didn't want it to be that legible. So I chose neon green on this background. So just thinking about legibility when you're choosing colors for signage. Legibility. Can you read it? Can people read it? The number one crime of those type of schemes, the example is always yellow type on a white background. Just say no unless you actually don't want people to read it, which can be a choice, right? Sometimes we want things to not be legible. Now by tracing on the other side, I'm applying pencil lead. For the sake of time, I'm going to keep it moving. Finish this A. So you'll do the same thing. Trace. Lovely. Okay, let's put this aside. And we're going to treat, these are the same things, right? We did the same thing with the background. We're going to do the same thing with the tracing, with the type. So all I did was adhere it, and then I just took black. So we already have our black. I used an angle brush for the type. You can use a round. This is just what I chose. I like a crisp edge. Where the black goes. Didn't shake it. Oops. Let's fill it in. I like to go up to the edge and then pull it away. And then I like to fill in the letter. But you can do however makes sense to you. And again, if you are reticent to try it right on the front side, use the back. Acrylic doesn't dry, it doesn't take too long to dry, so give it a shot on the back side before you go to the front if that would makes you feel more comfortable. really easy to get lost and really keep going on your clean edges, but we'll keep it moving. But yeah, a nice coat of black. And now we've got our lines. So you'll fill in, you'll transfer your type just like we did, and then fill it in with a coat of black. Hooray. To finish the look, we're gonna rinse this brush and go back to that gesso. So if you have white already and you're like, I don't want to buy gesso, you don't have to, but it's just really handy because it is a primer as well. So one of the great things is, you know, this wood takes acrylic pretty well, but again, we had to cover our surface in white so things would be opaque. So again, it's just more opaque. And if you're using something that needs a primer, you've already got one and you're familiar with it. So I wanted to just use something that people may not be familiar with, because learning. Okay, so grab a round, make sure it's clean, and we're gonna do these fun little starlets. If I didn't have a template for that, I wanted people just to have fun. So I'm gonna grab some gesso. I still have some, and it's not dry yet. It is getting tacky. That's okay. All I did to make these fun stars, get these in frame here. I picked where I wanted to go, and I made a cross. All right, this paint is, it's getting dry. It's a little too chunky, but that's okay. But then, okay, what if I have one here? And I just made a cross. And then I curved it. And I recommend putting your type down so then you can look at your little sparkles in relation to your type. So if you put your sparkles down first, you may end up having your type be centered where you want it and be on top of it. And sometimes, you know, there may be like tension here, visual tension. So it's nice to have an order of, right? Our type is the most important thing, and then these sparkles are just accents. So then we can use the negative space, right? The empty space around the type to decide where to put our sparkles. Right, yeah, my paint is getting tacky. It's too thick, but you get the idea. So we make a little plus and then we just curve those little edges to get that kind of fun star look. And yeah, just, you know, you decide. You can have more, you can have less. Place them where you see fit, right? It just keeps your eye moving, nice and fun. And that's the same thing we'll do on here. You put your type down and then you can do your fun sparkles. Really quickly, we'll go back here, make sure we have time to answer questions, talk about how we put it together. We did our bright pink for our bat, then we just go ahead and do a coat of neon pink. So we'll do that really quick together. Fill it in. I'm using a round, just a nice little brush. Speaking of legibility, for this a little type, right? I kind of chose to make it not so legible, but if you wanted to, doing what we did with this neon could be interesting, where we had the orange base underneath and then the neon orange on top. May make this a little more visible. You could put white gesso underneath and select another color on top that's more light, right? So it pops from the black, or not rather pops, rather contrast. I'm just thinking about that relation, you know, do I want people to read it? And if so, what's going to be contrasting between the background and my type, or do I not want people to read it? Maybe it's a little more obscure, like a neon that's harder to read. Okay, so we've got a bat, and then all I did for the eyes, bat eyes, I just took black I already had on my palette. I took my 0 and I just kissed boop, boop, and did little eyes. And I waited till everything was dry right here, because you could see we weren't quite dry. I started pulling up that bottom layer. So that's why we wait till things dry, so this doesn't happen. Okay, so once you've got all your fun stuff down, dunk this brush in water. Move this palette aside. I got everything dry. Oh, and the only last thing we didn't touch on. Once everything's dry, I just took black on the edges. I just love the contrast. I think it's fun when you walk up to the side of it. Ties the black in. We've got a nice 1, 2, 3 here of all these elements. And then all I did was get out my glue gun, and I lined them up on the counter. I said, okay, this is a nice length. All I did was just glue my string to the back, and then I pressed while the glue was still wet. I had cut little pieces of scrap felt, and so I glued down my rope, and then I immediately pressed on top of the felt just to keep the glue covered from the wall, and so your wall is protected, right? So now if it moves or anything, it's not going to scratch anything. And you don't have to use felt, but it's just really inexpensive. It's great to have in the house, and it's something I already had, right? Reduce, reuse, recycle. But you can use cotton, muslin, scrap, whatever. But that's how we hung it. Very simple. And then hung it on a door, on a wall, whatever. Hopefully it's super fun and nice, light, and playful. Okay. Get this out of here. I am teaching, we'll make sure we get into questions. I'm teaching more Halloween. So this is Spooktober. This is for the bat. I'm teaching a class next week that is trick or treat, and we're doing more acrylic painting. So if you had fun with this, you want to keep going, we're going to do that. And then I have Glow as the class on the 30th that we're doing, we're making fairy lights our own, and we're turning them into little ghosties and goblins. So I'm really excited about that. And then I'm teaching a class for the days of card making. I'm on November 6th. We're going to do watercolor basics. So we're cutting out water. We're going to paint this snowman. She's melting. And then we're going to make a 3D paper spring. So it's a pop-up card. We're going to watercolor it. We're going to pop it out. It's going to be super fun. So we're going to learn some paper cutting basics, some pop-up basics, and some watercolor to make a really fun holiday agnostic card. So whatever you celebrate, we all feel the melting snowman, and it's blank, so you can put whatever message you want. So I'm really excited for that. And then into November, I'm going to submit some tie-dyeing class as well. So that'll be coming soon. But I really appreciate everyone for joining. I hope you learned. I hope you had fun. If you did, please share. I'm on the Instagrams, if you do that, as at Probably Sketch. And anything we see on here that you'll see on YouTube, so you can scrub and pick up anything you may have missed. And that's all I have for you. So I'd love to answer questions if we have any.
I'm not seeing any questions so far.
Rad. Okay, well, if anybody has any, feel free to drop them in the chat real quick. Otherwise, I know it's hard to make everything happen quickly, but I trust that y'all can do this. We're just layering, we're being patient with time, and that's a nice thing. I even find washing my brushes in the sink to be kind of therapeutic, right? It's just, we're doing something with our hands, and hopefully that brings you joy, and maybe it's nice bonding with someone. So I really appreciate everyone for watching. Share, paint, tag me if you make anything. I'd love to see it. And have a great Halloween. Okay. Thank you all so much.